Trekking moments.
Trekking moment.
Trekking moments.
Trekking moments.
Looking into the history of people and places.
Showcasing cultures of people and places.
Exploring the social life of people and places.
Revealing scenic sights from places that are worth a visit.
Will be captivating,
Formative.
And educational. Hello, welcome to Trekking Moment with Jack. Today the trekking crew is in the central region of Ghana, Elmina to be precise. And we are here to explore one of the historical monuments that you see behind me. It is called the Elmina Castle. It was a holding point during the slave trade. So men and women, able men and women who were captured during the slave trade were brought here before their final departure to Europe and finally to the two Americas. It was originally built by the Portuguese in 1472 and it was taken over by the Brits.
The Portuguese were the first Europeans in West Africa. They went there as missionaries seeking to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to the indigenous Africans. That very region was rich in gold, ivories, and spices. And these Portuguese, upon seeing the opportunity available, began a trade in these minerals. Their mode of trade was a barter system. So in the exchange for the golds, the ivories, and the spices, the Portuguese brought guns, gunpowder, tobacco, and liquor. They acquired these minerals in large quantities and built the Elmina fort as a storage for their goods. By 1500, they had a change of mind and began the human trade, with the fort as one of the holding points for the captives. The storage rooms for the goods were fortified and converted to human dungeons. Within the castle, they had separate dungeons for both men and women. During the slavery, about 7 million captives passed through Elmina Castle. In this video, we are going to look at the female dungeons, and later in subsequent ones, we will explore the male dungeons. Come with me as I explore the female dungeon. The Elmina Castle had a total of 8 female dungeons. The minimum number of female slaves that a castle could hold at a time was 400. The largest dungeon took 150 female captives, and the second largest accommodated 95 captives at a time. There were no toilets and urinals in them, so empty containers were placed at the corners of the dungeons for the captives to use. The largest female dungeon was connected to the armory by a small vent, so toxic leakages could get in to claim several lives. Female captives who perished in the dungeons were tied together and their bodies were dumped in the sea. The European merchants, soldiers, and the governors came to West Africa without their wives and children. Therefore, they sexually exploited the female captives who were kept in the various dungeons. Anytime the governor wanted a lady to spend the night with, he would order the soldiers to bring out all the female captives outside the dungeon to the inner square. They would be paraded naked and the governor would stand at the governor's balcony to pick a lady. For the first time in several months, the selected lady will be washed and fed by the soldiers, getting her ready for the governor. The chosen lady will be taken to the governor's room, which was upstairs by the staircase through the trapdoor. The only source of water at that time was an underground well that could dispense about 20,000 gallons of water. This well is at the inner square of the dungeon, and that was where the pick of the governor would be washed. The soldiers were allowed to select some women to satisfy themselves. The female captives who got pregnant from such exploitation were taken away from the castle to give birth. The offsprings were adopted, nurtured, and enrolled in schools established by the traders. These offsprings were given Portuguese names. Up till today, the community of Elmina has Portuguese corrupted words and names. The descendants of these misraised children still exist. Any chosen female that resisted the sexual exploitation of these traders within the castle had a cannonball and a chain tied to her feet. She was left in the scorching sun for several hours for resisting.
You've been gone, it's an empty home. Come on back where you really belong. You are always welcome home, welcome.
The captives could be held in the dungeons for more than 3 months before their departure to Europe.
You've been kept down for much too long. Stand up, please, and say I am free. Don't forget you are welcome home, welcome home.
The ladies were lowered down the needle door that connected the female dungeon to the gate of no return.
On this happy trip back to the promised land.